Hello everybody, welcome to the Saroy channel. You're really going to enjoy this wonderful story I have this evening, and it comes all the way from Harry, who's from Alabama, but this Sasquatch experience happened to him when he was in St. Louis. So let's get started. Dear Sarah and your listeners, my name is Harry and I'm originally from Alabama, but my Bigfoot encounter happened when I was living in St. Louis in the spring of 1992. I was driving a delivery van, delivering organic produce such as vegetables, fruit, dairy, and organic meat and chicken to my customers. I really enjoyed my job because I got to meet so many interesting people on my travels. Sometimes I made deliveries further away from St. Louis, but most of my drop-offs were pretty local. Like any delivery driver, I always had my favorite clients, and one of them was an elderly lady called Sheila. This lady was a hoot. She always made me laugh with her witty sense of humour. And she always invited me in for a chat, a large mug of coffee and a piece of her homemade apple pie served with lashings of cream. No one made apple pie quite like Sheila. Her pies were legendary and incredibly delicious. I noticed on this particular day, Sheila looked very flustered. I think I must be losing my mind, she told me. I made an apple pie an hour ago and it's gone, it's completely gone. Sheila, I laughed. No one makes better pies than you do, but I'm not having coffee with you just for the pie. I enjoy delivering you groceries and I also enjoy our chats. Liar, she teased. You wanted some of my apple pie, I know you did. Sheila beckoned to me to follow her onto the front porch, overlooking her wilderness-style garden with the wooded areas behind her property. I put the apple pie here, she said. I just had it, literally took it out of the oven. It was still very warm, and I put it here before you arrived. You mean someone snuck out onto your property and stole the pie, I asked. Absolutely, she said. But who and why? If they really want some of my apple pie, I would gladly give them some. But to sneak off with the whole thing makes me feel a little freaked out and anxious. Of course it does, I said, patting her on the back reassuringly. I'm sure it's a once-off. I do hope so, she reflected, but there is one other thing I want to show you, and that's giving me the heebie-jeebies, I have to say. I followed Sheila down the porch steps to the edge of the garden where there was a muddy spot. Look, she said, pointing at the ground. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Lying there in the soft mud was a huge footprint, the likes and size of that I have never seen before. The footprint looked like it belonged to a giant human being. It was 20 inches long. I stood there looking aghast. I've never seen anything like this before. And what was odder was that the footprint was of a bare foot. I mean, who walks around without shoes, I thought. What disturbed me the most was the size of the footprint. Who on earth did it belong to, I wondered. Surely it was not a human, but it wasn't a bear's either. I was flummoxed. What was it, I thought? One other thing, she said, looking at me with a look of fear growing in her eyes. I really do feel like I'm being watched. I have felt this strange feeling for a few days now, but I brushed it off as just my imagination. But now with the pie disappearing like that, I'm beginning to wonder. I looked at Sheila sternly. Never ever write off your gut feelings, I told her. Gut feelings are warning signs, you know. You need to listen to them. I just don't feel safe, she confessed. I tell you what, Sheila, I said. I'll come over and sleep tonight if it'll make you feel better. You better make another one of your apple pies, I teased. Are you sure about this, said Sheila. Have you not got places to be and family obligations? What about your wife and your kids? Sheila, my wife would be mad with me if I did not stay over with you tonight, especially if you do not feel safe, I insisted. I arrived at Sheila's house in the early evening, and she looked very flustered again. I've had that feeling all day, she said. I just keep feeling as if I'm being watched. It's creeping me out. I was worried for Sheila. Look, I said, let's watch some happy TV and have a meal and then go to bed. I'll stay on the couch and keep a lookout all night. I want to get to the bottom of this enigma. I have brought my rifle with me, so I promise you, you will be safe." Sheila was about to dish up her apple pie for dessert after we had eaten, and then I stopped her. "You're refusing my apple pie?" she asked. "On this occasion, Sheila, I am. I want that pie on the porch to see if we can apprehend the culprit who stole your pie this morning. Maybe he will come in after another one of your pies in the evening. My guess is that the owner of the big feet is responsible for stealing your pie, and I need to confront him." "Are you sure it's wise?" she asked. "I don't want you getting into any trouble. There are a lot of weirdo people out there who are not right in the head." So the plan was hatched. Sheila went to bed early, and I stayed up all night. I was starting to feel very tired and about to resign myself to retiring to the sofa for a good night's sleep, when I heard a shrill whistling sound coming from the woods. And then I heard another one, and another. How odd, I thought. I wonder what that is. It sounded like a bird call, that I'd often heard those kind of bird calls in the woods near my home when I'd gone walking. Suddenly I heard a movement outside on Sheila's porch, and it sounded like it belonged to someone very heavy and big. I immediately cocked my rifle and peered through the window. It was working, I thought. The apprehender's getting close to the porch. He's after the apple pie. I had left a dim light near the porch on, so that I could get a good view of who and what the apple pie thief was. Then I saw him, and I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. No, I thought, this has got to be a dream. No, it can't be real. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? No, surely not. I was frozen to the spot with fear, and I kid you not that my whole body felt so heavy and weighted down by sheer panic, and I couldn't move. The creature was a Bigfoot, and there was no question of a doubt about that. He was over 8 foot tall. Hang on a moment, I thought. I could see breasts dangling through the dark black hair of this creature. Oh my word! It's a female, I thought in surprise. The way she moved was so agile, almost with the same bouncy resilience that you see in domestic cats. The creature literally jumped and landed on her feet, just like my tabby cat at home. I was amazed. In the dimness of the night light, I could see her shape, which was streamlined and lean. If I could see her stomach without the hair, I guarantee that creature had a six-pack. I could see muscles in areas where the hair growth was less dense, and believe me, the creature rippled with strong, lean, dense muscles throughout her whole form. Her arms were long and lanky and reached beneath her knees, and her feet and hands were enormous. Each finger on her hand looked like it was a sausage, and her nails were smooth and human-like. I could see her face when she turned around in my direction. I wondered if she could feel my horrified stares. Her face had a humanness to it, but she was more ape-like, I think, also, although I'm not sure because suddenly everything happened so quickly. Before I knew it, the apple pie had been seized in her humongous hands, and then she opened her mouth and let out a huge whistle. There came a response from the woods, another shrill, lengthy whistle. Anyone listening would seriously believe the calls were from birds. It was almost like she was saying, "Coast is clear, got the apple pie, and I'm coming now." With that, she was gone faster than greased lightning, and I kid you not, 100 yards to her was a couple of seconds on those long, lean legs of hers. The next morning I told Sheila what had happened. "I do not think it is a good idea you are staying here," I told her. "An animal like that can be unpredictable and dangerous. Why do you not move in with my family?" The very next day, Sheila moved into my home and became like a grandmother my children never had. She still lives with us today, and we consider her family, although nowadays she's hard of hearing and a little slow on her feet. But yes, she is still making those legendary apple pies. I have not seen the Bigfoot since, but one thing I know is that she ain't tasted anything as good as Sheila's apple pies. Sincerely, Harry, and fond regards to all your listeners in North America and the rest of the world. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, good night.